Hello and welcome to OctopusDo. I'm Christian Ross, and this is my channel where I am showing off some of the jewelry making skills that I've learned over the years, some of the tips and tricks that I've picked up, just passing those along, and anything new that I learn along the way, definitely trying to share those as well. If this is your first time here, then don't forget to subscribe. Today's project is going to be a short one. This is one of those fun tips that I hope you enjoy. It's all about making tassels. Now, tassels are a great way to have a little bit of fun. These earrings that I've made are out of s-lon, and I didn't straighten it after I was done, so it kind of curls up around the edge. So that's really cute. This is made up of s-lon, so it's a thicker material, and I'll get into what s-lon is. And I did straighten this so it's very stiff, and I added a little bit of metallic thread in there just for that sparkle and shine. So tassels can be the center of your piece, a little bit fun and flirty, or the center of your necklace, a focal, or they can be embellishment. You could do necklaces and things like that that have tassels all the way around. So I'm going to show you a few of the ways that I make tassels. It's really easy. And then I'll talk to you about a few of the materials. What do I use to make tassels? Really, all you need is something to wrap your cord around. Say a credit card or a gift card, business card. Shameless self-promotion here. However, since I love tools, I have a few different tools that I like to use as well that make tassel making very easy. One of them is from Juliana's Jewel Loom, and this is a particular piece that comes in the kit if you purchase that. And it's, I believe it's called a heddle, correct me if I'm wrong, but it has these notches cut out just like that card I showed you. You can take your thread, simply hold against the bottom here and wrap around, and keep doing that until you get that completely filled up and as thick as you like. Another of my favorite tools that is very versatile, very useful, is the Knotty Do-It-All board. And that is actually one of my favorite tassel making tools because I can use several different spots on the board at the same time. So I can make several tassels, set them up to glue, and leave them, and it's all good. I'm going to be working on the Knotty Do-It-All board, but again, anything that you can wrap cord around is going to work just fine. So using the Knotty Do-It-All board is very easy because it has this ruler on the side, so I know what size my tassel is going to be to begin with. Now, first thing I do is I grab two of the posts that come in the kit, and I place them in the board at the length that I want my tassel. So if I'm starting at the beginning of the ruler here, which is kind of the 0 mark, and maybe I want a 3-inch long tassel, then I would put my other peg right here at the 3 inches. Now, I'm going to show you something really cool, and it's how I did these earrings. You can do 2 tassels at once on the board. So if I wanted 2 3-inch tassels, then I would take my second peg and put it at the 6-inch mark. That works because we're going to wrap everything around, and then we're going to cut it in half. Now, in order to really have good cord management and not get the ends of my cord going everywhere and having to tie things down, you can take one of the posts that come in the Knotty Do-It-All board kit and use that to hold the end of your cord. So I'm just going to grab that and place it in this extra little slot here that's right at the 2-inch mark. Really doesn't matter where you put that, it's just going to hold the end of the cord for you. Now, I told you I was going to talk about different types of materials that you can use. The earrings I made, I used s-lon. Now, s-lon comes in several different thicknesses. The standard looks about like this, and I've used quite a bit of this spool. Basically, s-lon was an upholstery thread originally. Jewelry makers like us decided that we liked it for all kinds of different things, like kumihimo and, well, for thicker tassels. And so we kind of adopted it, and it now comes in so many different colors. I really like working with this for thicker, more hardy tassels, but you can't go wrong with the old favorite of a silk tassel. It flows, it has lots of movement, and I absolutely love this silk cord that comes on a spool for making tassels. They're very soft, very supple, and I really like working with these. So I'm going to make a tassel with silk today. As you saw in the necklace I made here, you can actually make more than one color, and you can add things like your metallic cords in there to give it a little bit of shimmer and shine, but I'm just going to do a plain old green silk tassel today. So I take the end of my silk and I stick it in that alligator clip so I know where that's going to be. So I'm going to go ahead and pull just a bunch off and just go back and forth on my board here to make quite a few wraps. And you know, this seems to be getting in my way a little bit. So you know what? I'm going to stop and move that over. So I'm going to take my clip, maybe just put it over here somewhere. Doesn't really matter. I just wanted to keep that end out of the way so I can keep everything nice and tight. There we go. Now, one thing I really like about using the Knotty Do-It-All board is it really keeps the work up off the table for me. I don't have to pull anything up to get underneath it. That's going to come in really handy later when you see me tie the tassel off. You know, I'm not actually counting how many times I've gone around. I'm sure you could do this technique with beads as well. I do plan on cutting the ends of this so that it is a free tassel, but you can leave it looped if you want, and it gives this really pretty, full, almost petticoat looking design. I've gone around quite a few times, so I'm going to go ahead and bring over the other side there and hold both of them in that clip just so I can hang on to both ends so I know where they're at. And then take my trusty scissors here and snip this off the spool. Let me hold this up for you so you can see what this looks like. So looking at this from the side here, you can really see how thick this silk cord is. I've really wrapped it around several times, and you see what I was talking about, how the board holds everything up off so I can go around these pegs very easily. I can go around the work that I'm handling here, and it gives me some great space. So what the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put this collar around. I'm going to wrap cord around here so that there's a bunch of cord holding the tassel together right here. Before I do that, I need to incorporate these ends that I put off to the side or they won't get wrapped into the actual tassel. So once again, going to move that peg and come over here. Just put it back down here at the end where I had it originally, but since I'm not wrapping back and forth anymore, it's not in my way. Now there are several different ways I can wrap this. I can use the same cord that I used for the tassel part to go around, or I could use wire, definitely, but I think I'm going to use the same cord and show you a little technique on that. So I'm pulling off about 8 inches of silk here and I'm cutting it. I don't have to be precise on this. I'm just grabbing a little bit of it here to wrap around. I'm taking a spare post from the Knotty Do-It-All kit and I'm using that to create a space around, well, you'll see what I'm talking about. The post, and I'm going to hold it against the tassel here. And that is going to give me a little bit of extra room when it comes to pulling the end of this thread through. Now I'm going to grab the end of my wrapping thread here and place it with the post. Now I'm holding all of it, and the end is right down here, holding all of it against my tassel, and I'm wrapping around. And I start near the top and I'm going that way. So then I need to take the end of this wrapping silk cord and I need to run it back up through all of these loops that I made right here. And I'm just going to grab a pair of pliers. You could use tweezers, anything like that, pliers, tweezers, anything to really grab that and push that through. But to make the space, to make the hole for that cord to go through, I need to pull the peg out that I was using to hold that space. That's why you need that. So I'm pulling this peg out. There we go. And so this is very loose through here. So I'm grabbing the end of my silk there and just pushing it up through, and where I see the end coming out right here, grabbing it. There we go. Now I have the two ends of my wrapping silk, and I pull and it tightens it up nicely. There we go. So it has a nice little collar. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side as well. So I'll flip this around. Give it a little tug, and that tightens that collar up, and see, it does slide as you work, so that works out really well. So at this point, I can go ahead and trim this up if I wanted to, but I do always like to have that extra little bit of security and use that GS Hypo Cement. So I'm going to slide that collar back down just a little bit. I'm going to take my Hypo Cement here. Love the end on this. And I'm just going to put a dot right here on the end, and then slide that collar back down. That's going to give me a little extra bit of security, and I know that this isn't going to slide off. Silk especially can get a little slippery. And the nice thing about working on the Knotty Do-It-All board is while this is drying, I can leave this here and it's held suspended until everything's all dry, and then I can come back and cut this off. But I don't want you to have to wait, so I'm going to go ahead and show you the rest. This end piece here, I just put a drop of glue behind it, and then a teeny tiny drop behind the end right here. Same thing on the other side. Put a drop, slide it down, and then teeny tiny drop on that side, teeny tiny drop on that side. Put the cap back on. All right, so now you let that dry, and you want to do that for at least 5 or 10 minutes. Definitely give it a good hour if you have the chance. But we're going to cut this into our tassels and we'll be good to go. So I come here and I find the middle, which is going to be at my 3 inches. Remember we talked about that. I have my awesome Ontara scissors here, and I'm going to cut this, and I can, because I glued everything, just let those go, move this out of the way. I'm going to trim this a little bit where I tied that collar on. I'll go back and really trim it up close after that glue is dry. All right, so I come here at my 3-inch mark. I'm going to turn it where I can see it. All right, right here at my 3-inch mark, and cut that in half. Now I have 2 tassels. Oh, I can use them on 2 different necklaces if I like, maybe make some longer earrings, so on and so forth. The last tip that I'm going to give you though is, do you notice when you take this off, it has a little body to it, kind of like your hair does on, I don't know if that's a good day or a bad hair day, but it's not exactly straight. The last tip that I have for you is to use a hair straightening product. So this is my secret weapon. This is my flat iron that is, I've had it for several years. I don't have a special craft flat iron. It's the one I use for my own hair sometimes. And so I'm just gonna come in here with my flat iron. Even though it's just a flat iron heat, it's always good to have something to keep your hands away from anything hot. Believe me, if it's hot, I can get burnt on it. So I'm holding my tassel here in my pliers, and I'm just going to very gently flat iron my tassel. So that makes it nice and straight. So that's my secret weapon. And that's really all it takes. I hope you enjoyed this project. It was a short one, but I hope it was a fun one. Don't forget to subscribe. And now you know, go make something.